everybody, Grant Robbins here coming at you from the garage. Today, talking a little bit about just overall compliance in the construction industry. What does that mean? I think I might have said it before, but I feel like compliance is an overused term. It's appropriate, but it gets kind of spread across a bunch of different things in our industry. And so today I wanted to talk briefly about how we break those things down, or at least I do, I should say. So first and foremost, you have compliance at the beginning of a project, contracting compliance. And I'm going to dive back more into some of those details here in a second, okay? Then as you get into the project, okay, contract compliance, you got to get the subs on board, you got to get them so they can set foot on that site, they can bill, everything is good, right? Then there's safety compliance, okay? You're on the project, you are working, tradespeople are out there in the field doing the hard work. There is safety compliance that we need to maintain, fall protection, covering up of holes, chemicals, spills, all the things that come into play that have to do with safety compliance. That is during the project itself. Then we have payment compliant at the end, okay? So we have to make sure that they have the correct lien waivers in place and conditionals and unconditionals and the draws and, all those things that have to come into play. Maybe there's other documents that are required in order for them to get, something might have to be notarized in order to get paid, those types of things. So these are all the types of things that come into that. Again, contract compliance, safety compliance, on-project compliance per se, and then payment compliance, okay? So I'm going to rewind and talk a little bit about contract compliance. That is the upfront part of the project. Before we can even get rolling in the field, we got to have all that set up. So what are some of the things that are required for part of that? Well, you've got a signed contract, okay? You're probably going to need, you're going to need a certificate of insurance with any endorsement forms and things like that that are required as part of that for that subcontractor specific to that project that's been verified. You might be collecting prelims to make sure that those are in place. You might need a W-9. You're probably going to want to have proof of a contractor's license, maybe if they haven't already gone through a pre-qual system, but you want to make sure that they've got a valid contractor's license. You might even be checking to verify that they have a local business license to do work in that municipality. I know where I live, that's a requirement in order to get occupancy to show proof that you've been maintaining those with all of your vendors on the project. There's many other things. Government work, you might have DIR forms, certified payroll, all sorts of other stuff that you need in order to start working on that project and get the billing process started. And so I find that to be a very complicated large task to undertake getting all of that stuff in place. I mean, certificates of insurance alone are a monumental thing for a contractor, especially someone that's doing multiple projects with multiple subs, to track all of those certs, all those expiration dates, make sure all of those things are being verified and being compliant with the project requirements. There is a lot that goes into that. So just getting a signed contract and getting in the insurance in place, probably the bare minimum to get started, still a whole lot of work to make those things come together. So that's a little bit about that whole process. Again, contracting compliance, safety compliance, middle of the project, and then payment compliance. We'll touch base on that another day. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be talking more about insurance and tracking and how we do all those types of things, but remember that contracting compliance. Make sure you have a system in place that takes care of that up front so that all of that stuff can get dealt with properly before people start setting foot on your projects. Cheers.